Hello guys and gals, it is I, the Monster, and today we're going to do something a little different. So, a couple weeks ago, I had this Halloween special planned, and I was going to do something for the channel, and I really didn't want to scrap it. Like, life occurred, I got busy, yada yada, you've heard it before. But I decided today we're going to talk about a series that I really love, because I don't want to just be another YouTuber that creates list videos. I really want to kind of branch out a little and talk about games that I enjoy. So, without further ado, today we're going to talk about Dead Space. So the Dead Space series is a series that I really, really love. You know, in the great pantheon of horror games, in my opinion, there's usually 3 or 4 groups. Typically, I see Resident Evil fans, Silent Hill fans, and fans of indie horror. And there's nothing wrong with any of those games. I totally understand why people love them and enjoy them. But for me, I was always a Dead Space guy. Dead Space really spoke to my nerdy heart, very hardcore, just very heavy science fiction, just the way it told the story, the way the gameplay was. I liked that I was able to actually like rip and tear enemies a la Doom and actually like move on and you know, I would solve puzzles, but I wouldn't stand in a room for 20 minutes trying to figure it out. Like, it was very like, let's keep moving. And then they also had like this very incredible story. And I just thought, like, you know, this whole series, it just absolutely touched me in a weird way. I just love it. So today we're going to talk about Dead Space. Also want to shout out this is the Pop-Up Parade. I think Good Smile made this, Isaac Clarke. I think it's based off the remake, but I love it. This thing is actually a pretty good price if you can find it, so check this one out. But yeah, we're going to talk about Dead Space. So this came out in like 2008. Visceral Games made it with Glenn Schofield heading the studio, and EA is like, okay, we're going full blast on this studio, on this game. The marketing went hard. There was like a huge ad on Adult Swim of Isaac Clarke walking around the USG Ishimura for the first time with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and like a creepy rendition playing. And I just remember the first time seeing the ship, how beautiful everything was, the space, just the sight of it, the planets, and then the Necromorph finally showed up for the first time, and I was like, holy crap, man, this is insane. I remember that in 2008 or so, that was that holiday season, I really wanted this game, and we used to talk about science fiction and things around family dinners, and my uncle, shout out to him, he picked this game up for me, and he actually got me the guidebook as well, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm very happy, I'm very thankful I have this stuff, because, you know, you gotta understand, I was like a teenager, so I was still figuring out things. But I love this guidebook, actually. The guidebook's pretty in-depth, it has all the layouts. But I just absolutely adore this game. You know, Dead Space, the original Dead Space, to me, it was a really, I guess we could say it's ambitious, because, you know, you're thinking about 2008. The only game that really was that big in horror was Resident Evil 4. And Resident Evil 4 did so much for the industry. It was a highly influential game. I think that came out in like 2005. And then this one had a lot to live up to. And I feel like, and I still hold this opinion, that these are some of the best looking games on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Like, these are some amazing looking games. If you go back and play them now, you're going to be like, holy crap, Visceral just knocked it out of the park. Just their attention to sound design, visuals, just every little nuanced detail when you play those games, even if you put headphones on, is just absolutely second to none. I think they're incredible. And, you know, like I said, it's fun to rip and tear through enemies with the different weapons and the stomping. I really want to say real quick, I'm not going to touch on the entire storyline, but I love like the storyline in this, where you're basically a general like engineer, and you're a regular dude that doesn't talk, at least in the first game. And Isaac Clarke is here to fix the ship, and all this stuff goes haywire with the people he goes with, and it turns out that this mining rig, this giant space station, the USG Ishimura, was messing with, they found a marker, an alien marker, and the alien marker sent out a signal. It made everybody go crazy, and all these creatures came out of it, essentially from people's innards and all kinds of funky stuff. So there's all that, there's like a cult, there's like creepy scientists. It's just a perfect blend of science fiction and horror, and I absolutely adore these games. Also, what was really cool, because I went back to this, was they advertised Dead Space Downfall. Let's see if I can hold this up. I don't want to break my thing here, but Dead Space Downfall. There's this movie, and I think there's one called Aftermath, which might have been around Dead Space too. But I wanted to give a shout out, because those 2 animated films, I believe, are done by the guys that did like all the like. Wow, that fell out of my hands. I think they did it by like, I think it was the people that did all the Fox cartoons. I'm gonna correct it in the I'll do a caption, but I give a shout out to those animated films. You should really check those out. Now, it'd also be remiss if I didn't mention that behind me this entire time since I've come back to YouTube has been an Art of Dead Space book hiding in the background of my little science fiction part of my shelf. And this was given to me by, I used to hang out with this dude Frankie in high school, and he used to work at a GameStop, and he knew how much I loved Dead Space, so he gave this to me. I don't remember if this came out around Dead Space 2 or 1, but a lot of the art in this book is basically Dead Space 1. So, like, for example, you have, and what's also cool is this thing came with, like, 3D glasses, so I'll show you the 3D glasses are in it. I never opened it, but there's 3D images of, like, necromorphs, there's, like, pictures of, like, Isaac Clarke in different corridors, there's different parts of the space station, the necromorphs, of course, the actual creatures themselves. I'll post some pictures so you're not just seeing me flip-flop through this, but I was just absolutely mesmerized by this book. So shout outs to him. I gotta give him a shout out. He gave me a couple of things back in the day, so I gotta give shout outs here. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up that book. So now we're on to Dead Space 2. Dead Space 2 is just, to me, it's how you make a sequel. You take the first game, you look at what was great about it, and you improve upon it. And they took Isaac to like a new area with more of the military stuff going on now, because now the military is getting involved. He's still going after his love interest with Nicole. There's all that stuff going on. And then they also kind of throw it back to the first game in a really amazing way. I know this is going to be a weird reference, but like it's almost like a Pokemon Gold and Silver thing, if that makes any sense to you. For those that played it, you'd get it. But then new enemies, new weapons. The gameplay in this is superior to the first game. I have to tell you, the gameplay in this is just amazing. Like it's much better. But, we're going to get to that, but I also want to say that I also love the first game's story and whatnot more, if I'm being honest. But this was cool, man, and I was looking for, like, my guidebooks and stuff, and I found that I had a Game Informer with, like, all of the, just talking about Dead Space 2. I just remember being so excited for this. I remember there was like a Smashing Pumpkins ad, and there was like a advertisement that was like, not your mother's gonna hate this game.com or something. Like, it was just incredible. Like, go look up the marketing for Dead Space 2. It's some of the best marketing I've ever seen for a game. But yeah, this one came out in like 2010, I think, 2011, and this one was cool, man. I pre-ordered this, so I got the limited edition, and it came with Dead Space Extraction on the disc. And Dead Space Extraction was the on-rails, like, arcade shooter game that was put on the Wii. So it's like, basically, I got a free game. It's so good. But Dead Space 2, man, just a great example of a wonderful sequel. I seriously hope we get a remake of this one day. Just a bigger and badder game, and awesome, just an awesome game. So on a side note, I also want to say that around Dead Space 2 or after Dead Space 2, I actually got a copy on PC of the original Dead Space. I absolutely love it, and this actually has an advertisement for the animated films as well. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, the Dead Space ports, at least this one, was a little choppy, a little buggy, but it was still good, man. I have been to conventions most of my life, game shops. I have never seen anybody with a boxed copy of Dead Space on the PC, so I feel like this is, like, for me, one of my weird prized possessions. It's probably worth, like, nothing. Like, if I go on eBay right now, it's probably worth nothing, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just so thankful that I have it. I think this is so cool, and I know the other Dead Space games got PC ports, but I don't know if they got boxed copies, so this was just something I really wanted to share with everybody. I thought this was really cool. Alright, so up until this point, we've talked about how amazing, I think Dead Space is, and I want to also emphasize that, like, they've also did things in this game with, like, the gameplay, the UI rig, the way things popped out. Just, they did a lot of things ahead of the curve, and I feel like they really challenged themselves. So, I always say that these are three of the best games on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room. So, Dead Space 3 is a game that everybody online loves to talk shit about. They love crapping on this game. They love acting like they beat this game, like they played it. It's frustrating. If you just have a polite conversation with a person on X or any social media platform about this game, you will come to learn that people are just spewing out what everybody else is saying. So I'm saying this as a person that pre-ordered this game, that loves this series. This is an awesome game. Is it a perfect game? Absolutely not. So EA, the big story is that EA kind of forced Visceral Studios to make a more action-heavy Dead Space. So a lot of the horror undertones are gone. But in this game, you get more of a backstory for Isaac. You get more, more talking. You get a villain who's a real jerk that you just want to see get it at the end. You get some of the best-looking snow particle effects, whatever you want to call them, ever. this entire game is just a homage to John Carpenter's The Thing, which is like my favorite horror movie of all time. I love this game. Like, I love the whole series. And I think what's interesting is they added like a gun system that would like really develop more and make it was very broken, I won't lie. You could make like an overpowered assault rifle, but it just, you could tell that they really enjoyed what they could, make with this game. Like there's a scene in this game where you're in like a dark warehouse or like a storage unit, and there's all these little storage units, and they introduced these new necromorphs in the game that are like dodo birds, and they're literally tapping on the storage units and talking to each other, and it's pitch black. It's one of the scariest things I've ever seen in a game. It felt too real, and I always wondered like what people thought of that scene, but I always think about it. Like, I don't know, man. I had a lot of fun. They also added like co-op. They introduced this character Carver, who actually had like a very good backstory, and he was more on the military side, whereas Isaac was just a regular Joe engineer, as we've said. And so doing co-op was fun too. Like, I don't know, I think for what they were able to do with this game, Visceral, I think, made a really awesome game. Hey, I just want to snip this in because I totally forgot to mention this, but in Dead Space 3, one of the best things ever is they did a marketing crossover with Slim Jim. So for the holiday season that year, I got these big, long, like, beef jerky sticks, and I typed in the codes, and I turned all my weapons into red and yellow Slim Jim colored weapons. So I'm killing necromorphs with like a Slim Jim assault rifle or a Slim Jim plasma cutter or whatever. It was hilarious, man. I just wanted to share that. I thought that was like the sickest thing. I'm going to see if I can find an image for it. But it was amazing, man. That's marketing for you, kids. Let me tell you. I would love to see a director's cut of this game someday, or some version of like what they were actually trying to accomplish with the horror stuff. But that's neither here or now. And it said, like I said, they got rid of Visceral. I also want to say, before I forget, they added a DLC for this that had like a cult thing going on, but I never played it, admittedly, and I heard that was more horror-y. So yeah, I just wanted to say Dead Space 3 is an awesome game. I think people really need to stop pooping on it. It's fine. And now for something you probably weren't expecting, I also want to talk about Isaac Clarke's DLC appearance in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. This game came out around 2012 or so, and for Dead Space 3, they put him in, and Isaac has all of his main suits from all three of the Dead Space trilogy. Dead Space was such a big hit on PlayStation that they threw him in this. And I just want to say, he's one of the most fun characters in the entire game. Like, I know people, again, like to talk smack about this game as well, but I thought his inclusion was amazing, and it actually felt right. So, I just needed to shout that out. I thought Isaac Clarke was easily my favorite DLC character in this entire game, and I thought it was badass that they put him in this. Alright, last but not least, we got to talk about the most recent thing, and that was the Dead Space remake that came out in 2023. And I was really nervous when they first showed it, like talked about it and they announced it. It was I guess it's a newer team, right? EA Motive or Motive, I don't know what they're called, but Motive at EA. And it was like, okay, finally they saw Resident Evil was kicking butt again and coming back, and it was like, all right, we really want Dead Space to come back. And we were all nervous, we were all apprehensive. I mean, I was worried. I was like, please don't screw this up. This is one of my favorite games ever, and like I just don't want Dead Space to be crap. And it was amazing. They took in the feedback. They kept showing things off monthly. They got a lot of feedback. They got a lot of old people from Visceral back. They got the UI designer back, I think, or the rig designer. So many things went right. And I was just so blown away when this game came out, how amazing this was. This is, like, to me, one of the best remakes I've ever played. They painstakingly remade the first game to a T, flaws and all, added in some stuff that was cut, and even gave a side story for Isaac's love interest, Nicole, to show you kind of what she was doing. So, for me, this is like, you should study this game if you're ever trying to remake something. Just amazing game across the board. Absolutely loved it, and it was designed with a lot of sound stuff in mind. So if you playing this game with headphones was absolutely terrifying. I loved it. Just the way the necromorphs would react to you and things in this game. Amazing across the board. I really hope we get a remake of Dead Space 2. I hope it happens. But I just wanted to say that, yeah, Dead Space, the remake, absolutely worth checking out. Awesome game. Awesome. So yeah, this has been a video I've been wanting to make for a while. It's just my love of Dead Space. I absolutely adore this series. Again, if I didn't say it before, Dead Space, the original Dead Space, one of my favorite games of all time. Just absolutely love this series. And I hope for more things Dead Space. Anything Dead Space. We need it, man. The universe needs it. Do a Dead Space live action movie or a show or something. I'm here for it. I just want to rip and tear necromorphs all day long and just, make us whole and all the I can't put in any more puns and references, okay? But you get what I'm saying. So yeah, guys, this is it. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, ring the bell, do whatever you gotta do. I appreciate you so much, and there's more videos to come. We're always cooking. Just, you got to be a little patient with me. Things have been a little crazy with the holiday season. But yeah, that's it. Do you like Dead Space? Do you enjoy this series? Let me know what you think down below. Thank you so much, guys. Peace out. Take it easy. Seriously, Isaac Clarke's cameo in PlayStation All-Stars, one of the greatest things of all time. Seriously, check it out. Okay, bye. He's got buzzsaws.